Hey there! Welcome back to Reddit Dating, best channel for cheating stories. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more spicy stories.
28 male. Is she cheating on me? 3-year relationship, part 1. Hi, all. So I feel like I'm going crazy and I'm just paranoid. Maybe my anxiety is driving my mind wild, but I can't shake the thought that she's doing something. I've probably made my own situation worse by reaching out to her exes a few months ago just to verify if I'm going crazy, and she's actually been honest. The info I learned from them supported her emotional behaviors, but only her first ex was able to confirm she had cheated on him. She did tell me about that when we first started to see each other, but I found out what she told me was really an edited version of the truth. I think the easiest way for me to explain my situation is to go through a list of the things that have bothered me over our relationship. We started to see each other 5/2018, and at first we hadn't defined if we would be open or not, but by September we were officially dating and she said she'd like to be monogamous, which I'm fine with. November 2018. She ended up going on 2 dates with different guys, didn't do anything more after drinks as she apparently wasn't into them. About a week after her second date, she told me she had done that. I'm open minded enough to be okay with an open relationship, so I kinda brushed it off and didn't care. May 2019. She was keeping in contact with an old Tinder who was actively being forward about wanting to have with her again. She was not back and wasn't being suggestive like she would. She had invited him to hang out if he was ever in the area while she was at grad school, though. We were at a music festival when I had noticed a message from a John Tinder, asked her about it, said he was an old fling, and allowed me to go through the messages to ease my worries. I talked with her after about how her simply not being open about the fact that this guy was still looking bothered me, and I'd prefer if she didn't engage with him like that. Also, was there anyone else? She said she never intended to do anything, was just naively thinking they could be friends. Also, that she doesn't seek out to contact these guys, only message back to be nice. June 2019. Her and her best friend were in Japan, where her best friend up with 2 guys. She says she never did anything and even called me on her walk home to tell me. She has a tendency to get very flirty and while drinking, and both her and her best friend were drunk that night. I took her word for it, but it's hard to believe she didn't do anything with the other guy. Wouldn't anyone play wing woman for their best friend, even if it meant getting physical to help seal the deal? Additionally, I've recently discovered she had met someone else while I'm in Japan that has been very forward about wanting to sleep with her. The conversation from her side is more engaging in flirty language, but isn't outright, hey, let's, when we can hang out again. The conversation is more recent, February 2020. September 2019. She started grad school but didn't want us to live together, so she got her own dorm. Told me she wanted to establish herself among her peers and not be considered as me and her. I didn't want to be and simply agreed because I love her and wanted to support her. I was only able to visit once a month, sometimes not for 2 months at a time. Anytime I visited her, she always told me she had no desire to have school, was stressing her out too much, and if we did have, it need to be very mechanical. Missionary P and V under 5 min, it was like all emotional passion had disappeared. Something that continued to occur until COVID hit was that when I visited, she wouldn't ever want to do anything. We would spend the whole weekend locked away from the rest of her peers in her dorm. If I asked her, let's go hang out with people, find something to do, she was always like, nah, I don't want to. I'm burnt out from school. When I wasn't there, though, every weekend she was out socializing, drinking, and hanging out with her friends. This has really confused me because she always told she felt so alone at school and that she wasn't really making friends with anyone there. They were friends, but not close friends. October 2019. A guy texted her at 2 a.m. WYD. I saw the text come up on her phone and opened it. I felt comfortable enough in our relationship at that point that I trusted her but wanted to know why a guy was sending the "you down" to text at 2 a.m. Woke her up and asked her about it after seeing the text he sent her. He was extremely forward about wanting to get with her. She said she had no interest because he's only into her for her race. He was known for fetishizing all women like that at school. I asked her to tell him it's inappropriate and to stop talking to him, please. She responded she couldn't do that because it would cause drama at the school and she didn't want to cause issues. Instead, she went out and grabbed dinner with him to tell him in person. I felt like after this moment, she really didn't respect me to the relationship enough to care about my feelings. November 2019. Attended a concert nearby with a couple of male friends, one of whom she actually talks to daily on a more regular basis than myself. He's a very close friend that she wouldn't ever do anything with because she wasn't attracted to him. This is what she told me when I asked her about how she's getting so close to him, and he's openly expressed he's really attracted to her. The second guy had just gotten out of a breakup and ended up throwing up from getting blackout after the show. She called me to tell me she had made it back to the school and would be back in the dorm in 15 and she'd call me then. 1.5 hours later, I'm calling her to ask what's up and she answers telling me she just got back to her room. I was given some story about dropping off a rental but forgetting keys and walking back, then forgetting a phone and again walking back before heading into the dorms. It's a 10-minute walk from the rental place to her school dorms. This really bothered me, but I decided to trust her. It kept eating at me until I talked to my therapist, who encouraged me to let her know I thought this and it bothered me. When I did, she felt attacked and that I didn't trust her, and when she gave the story again, it changed to forgetting to drop off the rental keys, then waiting for campus security to drive them back. December 2019. Travels to Bermuda with all her class peers, where it was revealed in a later post about the grad school environment that there was people actively cheating amongst her peers. The poster stated that they had walked in on someone giving a BJ to another who was not their husband. I was made aware of this because she liked to share the drama of the week they spent there. During this time, I was going through some emotional issues unrelated to her, and she stopped talking to me mid conversation for 8 hours. Her excuse was that she was charging her phone. It was in her room. She has an Apple Watch and still received and looked at the messages. Red receipt was on, so I know she had seen them. She kissed a girl for the first time, then told me about it that night, saying, I know you wouldn't care, that's why I was okay with doing it. She's also extremely self-conscious of her body and then went skinny dipping with some girls and guys. We had an opportunity to do the same, and she refused, saying she felt uncomfortable being naked in front of others. Her ability to not have issues similar to this around others, but only with me, is very confusing as well. Stay tuned for next part.